Opening arguments underway in the murder trial of 3 white men in the shooting death of Ahmaud Arbery. The 25-year-old black man was shot in February of 2020 while he was out jogging. An emotional day in court today. Ahmaud Arbery's mother, Wanda Cooper Jones, crying when she saw the full video of her son's shooting, and again, as police body cam showed her son's body on the ground. Joining me now to discuss criminal defense attorney Page Pate. Page, thank you for joining us. Wow, I mean, I can't even imagine. I don't think any of us can imagine. I appreciate you helping us out with this. The prosecution, though, laying out their case today, outlining what led up to the shooting and why Arbery was running away from the defendant. Listen.
How do you know Mr. Ahmaud Arbery was under attack by strangers with intent to kill him? Because Greg McMichael told the police this: "Stop or I'll blow your head off." That's what he said to Mr. Arbery, because he wanted to make sure Mr. Arbery knew Greg McMichael was not playing.
So the defense is arguing that the defendants thought that they were protecting their neighborhood, Page, and acting in self-defense. Which side made the better argument today, you think?
Well, Don, I will have to admit that I think both sides started out with very strong opening statements. I mean, we knew coming into this trial what the prosecution would say. They would focus on the video. They would focus on the fact that there's absolutely no evidence that Ahmaud Arbery was committing any crime. They would focus on what the McMichaels said there at the scene, all to support the prosecution's case that this was cold-blooded murder. But what we heard today, really for the first time from the defense, was a very different narrative of what happened. They tried to create some doubt that, hey, Mr. Arbery was in the neighborhood before. Maybe, at least from the McMichael standpoint, he was committing a crime. So they were trying to present at least some alternative to suggest that their clients were justified, not just in chasing him down, but then approaching him, confronting him, and ultimately shooting him.
Yeah, I mean, there's so much to unpack here. I mean, number one, they're not law enforcement, and number two, what gives them the right to do it? They could have just called police. But anyway, I digress. The judge, I think it's important to mention the judge ruling on 2 key motions in this trial today, ruling that the defense will not be allowed to discuss Arbery's probation status, and that the prosecution can show the photos of Travis McMichael's truck with that Confederate flag vanity plate on it. How could this potentially impact this case, Paige?
Well, I think the probation issue is very important, especially the way it turned out that this jury was selected and seated. I mean, as you know, we've got 11 white people on this jury, 1 African American. I think the idea from the defense side of showing that Mr. Arbery was on probation, maybe that gave him a reason to try to run through the neighborhood. Don't completely understand the argument, but I know the defense wanted it. On the other side, I don't know with this jury that this Confederate flag license plate is going to be all that significant. Again, we're talking about a majority, almost exclusively white jury in Glenn County. And look, there are Confederate flags on cars in Glenn County. This isn't the only one. So I don't know how strong that evidence will be for the state. I don't know if it'll change the dynamic, again, given this jury. It is all about the jury in these cases, especially this one.
Yeah, but all about the video too, Paige, in this case. I mean, that is, that's probably the key thing here, other than the jury. Let's talk about the mom. We saw the mom, breaking down when she saw that video for the first time, and then, saw her son laying there on the ground. The mother, her name is Wanda Cooper Jones, explaining to reporters today why she stayed in the room while video of the shooting was being played. Listen.
I decided to remain in so I can get familiar with what happened to Ahmaud the last minutes of his life. I've watched the video for the last 18 months, and I thought it was time to get familiar with what happened to Ahmaud the last minutes of his life. So I'm glad I was able to stay strong and stay in there. That's the first time I saw the video in the entirety.
Yeah. So we saw with the family of George Floyd how these trials can affect families who have to watch the evidence play out over and over, right? And now she's going through a very similar thing.
It's incredibly difficult, and it's hard to imagine. And not only is she going through it personally and with her family, his father has also been at the trial. It's playing out in front of the community, and it's playing out across the world. And I can't imagine the pain, but I think the family must appreciate, at least in some way, that there is a video. Because, Don, you and I wouldn't be talking about this case if there was no video.
Right.
These people would have never been prosecuted if there was no video. So it's painful, it's disturbing, but it's necessary if these cases are going to be prosecuted.
Yeah, very well stated. Look, in the Kyle Rittenhouse trial, we are hearing from more witnesses like journalist Richie McGinnis about what he saw before Rittenhouse shot and killed Joseph Rosenbaum. Listen to this page.
Did you ever see a weapon on Mr. Rosenbaum?
I did not.
Never saw a gun on Mr. Rosenbaum?
I did not.
Never saw him have a knife?
Nope.
Never saw him have a club or a bat or a chain or anything like that?
I just saw the bag that was thrown. That was it.
So another witness testifying that Rosenbaum was belligerent that night. What stands out to you from what you heard today?
Well, belligerent, but not a threat. I think that was very important that came across in that witness's testimony that, he was there. He was also there for the same reason that Kyle Rittenhouse says he was there, to protect businesses and the community. And even though this person may have been acting out, may have seemed to be odd and strange, he did not present a threat, certainly not a threat that justified the use of deadly force.
Yeah. Well, Paige, we'll be watching both of these trials, very interesting ones, and you'll be here to help us out. Thank you so much. Appreciate it.
Thank you, Don.